Here I am again. Again. You can't complain. You want to get rid of me? Unsubscribe. Unsubscribing gets rid of me. As long as you keep coming back, you only have yourselves to blame, buddy. So here we are. We're back. I know what you're saying. Well, I don't know what you're saying. I might be saying, were I in your place, big man, black t-shirt, laundry day. Black t-shirts are all being washed right now. Actually, they're being dried right now. So, today, I started loving you again. I'm looking at LED base that I finished yesterday. And by finished, I mean finished with wipe-on poly. And they look good. It looks good. This is an older one. So I'm kind of rebuilding the first one I made actually for my sister. Hey, mister, want to date my sister? Hey, mister, want to date my sister? So yeah, this is the first one I gave to my sister. I gave it to her just to take to her where she works, just to show other people, to advertising, generate some buzz around my product. And so this is one of the first versions that I did. First off, I didn't finish it very well. I think this is just spray on clear shellac. So it's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not shiny at all. I mean, it looks okay, but it doesn't look nearly as good as this, right? Right? Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? So she brought it in because she said it wasn't as bright as one of the later ones I made for her and for her boss. And that's probably because, and I verified that when I put this together, I dialed down the brightness on the Arduino Pro Mini because I was just being conservative with the brightness. I thought it doesn't matter that much, and it wouldn't had she never seen it side by side with another one where I had the brightness dialed all the way up. But she did, and she commented on it. I said, "Well, bring it in, and I'll jack the brightness up." Because at that time I was trying to keep it down to, because I wasn't sure how I was going to power these. I wasn't sure whatever, and so I was trying to keep the current down to less than 300 milliamps. And this one I think the max was like 220 milliamps when I tested it. And the ones I send out now run around 150 to 250, but they spike on a couple of times through the color chases up to about 4 to 420 milliamps. And so these, the newer ones are brighter, and so I said bring it in, I'll jack up the brightness levels. I keep the newer ones, I want to keep them around no higher than 420 or 430 milliamps because the newer ones are made to run off the USB port of any computer. If they run off a charger, they're probably fine because most chargers will do 1 amp. But USB ports on most computers will do 500 milliamps. So I didn't want to get too close to that. So I don't figure many people will plug these into their computer just because even though I tell them 100 times, they won't really listen. That USB port on your computer and USB port on a phone charger or a Kindle charger or whatever, same power, it's all the same. they won't believe it because they'll think, oh, if you plug it into the computer, it's going to do something to the computer. So probably none of these will hardly ever get plugged into a computer. But I want to keep the milliamps. I want to keep the current draw well below the 500, just in case they do, because it has a USB port. But that's neither here nor there. This was an early iteration. I don't want it out there because it doesn't look as nice. I went with the green in a different direction on here than I should have. I should have the green going long ways because it looks better. I put some black gasket maker on the front here, between the front and where the LED strip lives, because I was having a problem with light bleed. If you look at it from here with the LED strip going, you can see a little bit of light bleed there, which doesn't matter to most people, but it mattered to me, so I was experimenting with ways to seal that off, and I got a little black line right there and I didn't like that, so I just said, screw it, I'll just replace this. But I don't want that out there as my demo model for people to see, so I went with a nicer one, and this one also has Clark LED engraved in it, so people will know where to go find me. And so I finished that up yesterday, and it's all dried now, so we're done. We're ready to put that back together. I've already reprogrammed her Pro Mini to get her brightness back up to where the others that she has are. And so yeah, so there's the difference. And also this one, I start out with the base as being 70 millimeters. This is 70 millimeters, which gave you a 20 millimeter hang there for that step. And on the newer ones I went with 60 millimeters, which gave you a 10 millimeter overhang there for the step. I think these look better, a little bit smaller, saves me a little bit of wood. And so you got a size difference, obviously, and you got a difference in the finish and the engraved website name. So these look better. So this one, the finish is finished, and so I'll rebuild this one, and she'll pick it up on Sunday. Sunday. She'll pick it up on Sunday after she gets out of her church, where she goes to worship an invisible guy in the sky who's not a very nice person. Whatever. Whatever. So, I'm not sure how we're framed up here. I never am. I really need to fix that. So I'll do that. And yeah, I'm going to realign. I'm going to set the camera up for a better shot here. Maybe as I'm working on this stuff, maybe kind of over my shoulder or up here looking down. Yeah, we're going to do that. So this is what I'm going to be working on. So this is what I'm aiming for. So you get to watch me aim the camera. Unless I edit this part out. Going up. Going down. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. So what I'm doing now, other than waiting on my clothes to dry, got a few things to do today. Tomorrow I have appointments again in Murfreesboro. I have an appointment with a company that's supposedly going to order me a custom order compression stocking for my left leg, because it is huge. My left lower leg has edema. Cardiologist called it lymphedema, but he did that with no testing or no anything, so I don't know how he can diagnose exactly what it is without doing any testing, but he did. This is the same cardiologist at St. Thomas Hospital who seemed more interested in talking about his religion than he did in talking about, the science that I was there for. It was all I could do not to say, listen, Doc, I'm here for the science, I'm not here for the religion. So, but anyway, isn't that cute? Like a little tree or something. These are little, well, basically they're Samsung knockoffs, little 5-volt USB port chargers that I ordered from eBay to sell with my LED signs. These will be optional, meaning if you want these, you'll pay extra for them. Because the way I sell these signs now is I don't provide a power supply for them for a couple of reasons. One, most every household has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 of these little chargers laying around in junk drawers or whatever, from their iPads and their iPhones and their iPods and their Samsungs and their Nokias and their Galaxies and their Kindles. You get the picture. And any of these little USB based chargers, any of them will work to run my lights. That's the way I designed it. And so if most people have, and everybody I've sold these to, I've asked, how many of these chargers do you have laying around? And they're like, 3 or 4, junk drawers, don't need them. So if most people already have the power supplies, why do I want to buy them another one? Saves me money, more profit for me, and I don't make a lot on these signs. Keeps more electronic plastic junk out of landfills because they're able to use their old chargers that were just sitting around in a drawer. So those are the reasons I don't sell these with a charger or power supply. They're chargers, but they're just power supplies. It's just a 5-volt power supply with a USB port. That's all it is. So that's why I don't provide these. But I thought I should probably give people the option, because the main thing I do is on my website I try to educate people that any of these chargers will work. But I've dealt with the public long enough to know, the non-techie public long enough to know that there is a percentage of them, an alarmingly high percentage of them, who aren't going to believe me. And so that could cost me a sale, because they don't believe me, or they just don't want to fool with, he said I could use a charger, and I don't know what charger, what. And here's another thing I just thought of. I learned this because I worked in, I ran my own Apple repair shop for 6 years. So I've dealt with the public. I used to repair Macintosh computers, laptops, iPhones, iPads, iPods. I used to repair all that for 6 years. So I've dealt with the public. And you and I know that this is a charger. I know I just said it's a 5-volt power supply, but to the layman out there, well, we're going to call it a charger because It's what it's known as by most people. It's a charger. Well, we'll get to that in a second. This is a charger, right? This plugs into the wall. There are your little prongs. Plugs into the wall. And then has a USB port. And you plug your USB port into this and your device, mobile device, into the other end of it, and it charges your device. This is the charger, right? Charger. Charger. Wrong. Well, actually, that's right. But to an alarming majority of the people, this is the charger. Now, you know, and I know that this is a USB cable. But to a lot of people out there, this is the charger. Now, to give some of them a little bit of credit, to a lot of them, this is the charger. The charger and the USB cable. This whole thing is the charger. But there is a percentage out there who thinks that this is the charger. And so I don't know what they call this. But I used to sell just USB cables and chargers separately and together there at Borough Mac in Murfreesboro. And I can't tell you how many people came in and asked for an iPhone charger. And when I would go over to the wall and bring back something like this or this, they would just give me a blank look like, what the hell is that? And I said, you wanted a charger, right? Yeah, but so I could tell. I was like, okay, this is not it. And when they would go over there and find one on the shelf for themselves and bring it back, they would bring back a USB cable. I said, so you want this and not this? And they're like, no, I've got that. And I'm like, I tried it first. Okay, that's a charger. This is a USB cable. But I'm just telling you, they don't get it. So that's the battle of dealing with non-techie people and some semi-techie people who just don't get it. So anyway, I've ordered 10 of these. I think they cost me $1.30 each. So that's not bad if they work. These are based on the Samsung travel charger. It's actually called a travel adapter, but the name Samsung is nowhere to be seen. So these are cheap knockoffs. But it's been my experience that this stuff that comes from China tends to be pretty good. You can get some crap, but you have to go by price, and you go by reviews, and you go by how many have been sold, and then you buy a little sample and you test them, and you test them, and you test them, and you find somebody that's selling the good stuff, and you stick with them. So yeah, there's bad Chinese crap made. Guess what? There's bad American crap made too. So these people who crap all over China and that cheap Chinese crap, there's cheap American crap too. When you buy cheap, you get cheap. It's up to you to vet the good stuff from the bad stuff. So not all stuff from China is bad or whatever. You know, it's on you to do your homework to figure it out. So anyway, I ordered 10 of those. And I'm going to test them. How do I want to test them? What kind of testing do I want to do? Is that joined already? Would that work? Here are the guts of a 11 LED base. So this would be for a 9-inch sign. So there's your guts, man. Caught in a crossfire that I don't understand. So I basically want to test these first just to see if there are any DOAs right off the bat. See if I need to send these back. I've got a little meter here, a little self-contained USB power meter that I'm going to put in the circuit and then run the cable through it, and that'll show me the voltage and the current. That'll show me the voltage and the current. It'd be nice if I had a power strip sitting up here, if I plugged in and all the way over there. You're not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to be able to see it very well. Nobody's going to be able to see it. Complete chaos. And what good is that? What good does that do anybody? So I'm going to go get a power strip. I'll be right back. I changed my mind. I'm back. I don't need to go get a power strip. Screw you. I don't need to go get a power strip. I just pulled the little power extension off my bug zapper. That should be long enough. Yeah. Well, it will be if I plug it in up here. So let's do that. All right. So let's do that. And just for the hell of it, let's turn it on without anything connected. So we got 0 current and 5.01 volts out already, so that's good. Let's turn it off. And then let's connect our little test bits here. And then let's turn it on and see what happens. Ain't that pretty? So we dropped from 501 down to 4.88. I don't like that. And we're drawing 170 milliamps. 190, 160, 170. That's probably pretty accurate. This thing's slow to react up here, so we're not getting a dead on. But it's not going above 200 milliamps. There we went to 0.20, which is 200 milliamps. So that looks okay. It dropped to 4.88 volts. I don't really like that, but this will run off of 4.88 volts, but I'd like it a lot better if it stayed dead damn solid at 5.01 volts. But again, these are cheap. That's, you know, that's acceptable. But like I said, right now the test is, are they DOA or not? That one is not DOA, so that's good. That's good. .98 volts, 4.99. So this one's staying at a higher voltage than another one did. This is 498, 499. And it's not DOA, so again, that's good. I'll do more intensive tests with these later. Right now I just want to know if they're dead or not, so I know if I need to return any of them. I'll do a burn-in test later where I burn a bunch of them, test a bunch of them, and then I'll test them for hours and I'll let them run overnight and come back and see how many have failed. This started out at 5.04 volts and it's dropped to 4.95. So that first one dropped to 4.8 something, 88 I think. And these other two have stayed in the 495, so these other two have been okay. There's 3 so far and none of them DOA. .9. So this dropped down to 4.9 volts. This is quality control testing you're seeing right here, buddy. 5.07 drops down to 4.97 after the current starts flowing. 497, 498. It's okay. That's okay, and it's not DOA. By the way, if I haven't told you lately, the name of my company that makes these is clarkled.com, CLARKLED.com. Maybe I'll remember and put it on the screen right now, but I might not, because these are supposed to be long form videos with no graphics and no all that stuff to make it easier on me, because I'm bored with that stuff. So I'll just tell you, Clark, CLARKLED.com. That's where you can go to buy some of my LED signs. 491. Again, not DOA. And that's what I'm testing for, is DOA. DOA. It lit up for a second. DOA! It rattles. That one doesn't rattle. 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 And that one doesn't rattle, and they all tested good. This one's bad and it rattles. So here's what'll happen. I may send it back, or because it's rattling, I may open it up and fix it. That's the only downside to buying cheap things like this. Sometimes it's cheaper to fix it than it is to send it back. You know? And it doesn't surprise me that one of them's DOA. These are turned out by the thousands and thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands, and the person that sent these to me probably didn't test them all. They're just prepared to. Probably if I write him and tell him one of them's dead, he'll just send me one free. Probably that's what'll happen. 4.9, it dropped to 491. So this one doesn't rattle and is not DOA. This one doesn't rattle. .494, 481. That's the lowest one yet. 4.81 it dropped to. 482. But no rattle. And this one doesn't rattle. Now, before somebody accuses me of being unscientific, I know the rattle doesn't necessarily have anything to do with it. It could be that all of them rattled, and one of them that rattled just doesn't work. So I get it. That doesn't mean anything. Incomplete data set. 5.05. So this one's maintaining its voltage. 506. What is it without the load? 516, 518. So, and then it dropped 5.18 without the load, 5.06. So it dropped, 0.12 volts. So probably what's happening is these are all dropping. It's just that some of these start out higher and drop to 5 volts, and some of them start at 5 volts and drop to 4.8. So chances are you go in, and if there's any adjustments in there, jack them up to 5.2, and then they're all going to pass and be fine. So we got a Radley DOA. So what I'll do with this one, because to open it, there will be no way to open it and then close it back up so that it doesn't look like it was opened. That just, I know from experience that's not going to be possible. If I open it, it's going to be obvious it's been opened no matter how careful I am, because these are glued and they're just not meant to be opened. Uh-oh. Now I got these mixed up. These are mixed up. I don't know which is which. Yeah, dude, one of them rattles and one of them doesn't. Dumbass. So that's a good one. So what I'll do is I won't open this up. Of course I want to open it up and see if it's just something stupid, you know, because it's, well, actually it's not completely dead. It showed me a little blip there. So if it were completely dead and never showed any signs of life, then it could just be a bad connection and then solder fix it. But this gave me a little blip on the meter there, which still could be a bad connection, but it could also be a bad component that just is failing immediately, and that would make it a little harder to repair. So what I'll do is I'll contact the guy, tell him 1 out of the 10 was DOA, and I'll see if he's going to be a good guy and say, no problem, I'll send you another one. Keep the other one, throw it away, which is what I would do. If he wants to push it and say, yes, I'll send you another one, send the bad one back, then I got to send it back. Otherwise, I just eat it and open it up and hope I can fix it. I may not be able to fix it. But if it costs more than the price of a stamp to send it back, they were only $1.30. If they were that, they may not even have been that much. I think they were, though. Because I know I found these in a lot of 10, and I didn't want to order more than 10 at a time initially, just because I wanted to see what kind of quality I was getting. So yeah, or 10 of these, yeah, these were $1.29, $12.99 for 10 of them, so they were $1.30 each. I found, not the same place, but I bet you I could order from him too, though, where I could buy 100 of them. Yeah, where I could buy 100 of them for $89, which of course makes them 89 cents a piece, 90 cents a piece. So I can get them for 40 cents a piece less if I buy in bulk, but then you've got 100 of them, and I just had a failure with 10, so I'm at 10% failure. If I order 100 of them, I could be at, you know, at 10% failure. That's 10 bad ones, and it could be 12, 13, 15, you know. Because again, they're cheap, so you have to understand that you're going to get some bad ones. That's why you have to test. So what I'll do is I'll contact him, see if he wants this one back. If he does, I'll send it back, as long as I can send it back cheaply. And then he'll send me another one. If he's like me, I would say keep it, throw it away. I'll send you another one. Sorry about that. And then just to protect myself from maybe if somebody's doing that to me and they're lying, then I would keep a record, keep records of the user who told me he had a bad one, and I didn't ask him to send it back, and see if he keeps doing that. Could be, you know, if he never does it to me again, then I say, okay, that was a legit thing. But if he tries to do it on every order, then I'm going to start saying, send it back, because I think you're lying to me. So I'll keep old Radley here, and I'll contact the guy and see what he says. Hopefully he'll just step up and do the right thing and send me another one and not ask me to try to send that one back. And so what else? I'll contact him in a minute. Last thing I did yesterday was I've made some progress on these little Wemos D1 minis. And these actually aren't made by Wemos. These are clones, knockoffs, but they work. They seem to work very well. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do. I thought I was going to use painless mesh. I think maybe I'm not. I think, well, I know I'm going to at least test Node Red and MQTT with these guys. And I'm probably today going to flash one of these with ESP Easy and see how that works. I could do it with the Arduino, and I may wind up doing it with the Arduino, but I want to try ESP Easy just because I want to try it. I want to see if it is that easy. But I had a little problem getting Node Red running on the Mac in the house. I decided to have most people, if they're going to do MQTT themselves, they get a little Raspberry Pi, in which I've got several, and they load Node Red on the Raspberry Pi and have that be their MQTT broker, which is fine. It runs it just fine. But I saw no reason to do that if Node Red would run on a Macintosh, which it will. It'll run on Windows, Mac, Linux, doesn't matter. And I have a Macintosh in the house that's on 24/7 because it's also my Plex media server. And I watch TV and movies and whatever all hours of the day and night. So it's on 24/7 anyway. And it's right in there, right by the router that gives me Wi-Fi everywhere. It has an Ethernet connection to that router, so why not, instead of doing MQTT broker and Node Red on a Raspberry Pi, why not do it on this computer that's on all the time anyway and has so much computing horsepower that it's not even going to notice that I'm running Node Red and MQTT broker on it. And it has an Ethernet connection right there to the router that all my little IoT devices are going to be connecting to. So I got that running on there last night. I got Mosca, which is a way to make Node Red just do MQTT without actually having to install a separate MQTT broker piece of software. You can just do Mosca on Node Red and that does MQTT, supposedly. That's all set up and ready to go. So now I've got these each on a breakout board. These are the little Arduino breadboard project slabs that I've got that I normally use just to do switches and LEDs and sensors to test with these two Arduino Unos. But I'm using these now just for, because this Wemos is an Arduino. So I'm using it just for these, so ignore the Arduino Unos, they just happen to be there. I'm just using the breadboard and the Wemos D1 Minis over here. And so this will be how I set up, this is how I'm going to do my testing. I'll connect an LED to one of them, and I'll connect a push button to the other one, and once I get it working and get them both dialed in through the MQTT broker, blah, 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 whatever, whenever I press the button on one, it should light the LED on the other one via Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi. And it won't have to go out to the cloud Wi-Fi. A lot of people will use MQTT brokers that are somewhere else. They're out in the cloud. By running Node Red with Mosca on there, I'm doing my own MQTT broker here that doesn't rely on anyone else. It's self-contained, which is the way I want it. So anyway, that's what I'm doing there. I've got these two set up and I've got them powered. And so today, probably right now, right here in a minute, I'm going to see about putting ESP Easy on one of these and doing that. But right now I'm going to have a drink of water because I've been talking for a long time. When I talk to you guys like this is a lot of talking for me. In one day, I've already talked more today. Today is Tuesday. I've talked more to you on camera today than I've talked all of Sunday and Monday. By a large margin, By a large margin, I've talked more already today than I have the last 2 days. If my friend Richard hadn't come over Saturday, and we talked a bit, if he hadn't come over, then I could say I've already talked more to you today in the last half hour than I have in a week and a half. So talking a lot like this doesn't stress my voice out, but after a while I feel it because I don't talk that much to anybody. I don't see anybody. Again, that's why you're here. To keep me from going crazy. Too late. So anyway, I got the little coupler. Ordered 2 because I had to order 2. Brass straight joiner, 10 millimeter, 3/8 inch. I prefer millimeter. So I got 2 of those with barbs on each end. For this little hose off my sprayer for spraying herbicides and pesticides. I had the sprayer on my 8-gallon electric pump sprayer that I have in a wagon that I use to spray down the driveway because my driveway is lousy with weeds if I don't stay on top of it, the gravel. And I guess I left some of the fluid in the wand, the spray wand, over the winter, and it froze out there probably several times. And so when I hooked it up a couple of weeks ago to do the first spraying on the driveway, as soon as I turned on the electric pump, the wand just was like a lawn sprinkler, man. I'm not kidding. It sprayed out of there, and at least 12, 14 little holes. And that's the only thing I could figure that happened. That I left some water and some fluid in there, and it froze and cracked that little plastic. So I had to scrap that. But I had one of the old pump style sprayers, and I was able to pull the hose and the wand off of it, and it had the same size hose. So I just sliced the end off of that, plugged it into where the other one was on the tank, on the electric fuel pump, or the electric pump, and that worked very well actually. But it was a little bit short, and I'm tall, and it was a little bit short, so it was kind of a pain. I didn't have as much reach with the hose as I wanted, and I had plenty of the other hose off the other one, so I just need a coupler so I can splice in some more hose. And so I ordered these little 10 mil couplers. I wasn't sure if it was going to be 10 mil or 12 mil, so I took a gamble, and it turns out 10 mil. Well, look at that fit. Look at that fit. Put a clamp on there. So I'll be able to use these to extend my wand out there for my summer spraying of the driveway. I have to spray the driveway to kill the weeds because Mom and Dad gave up on it as far back as 1986, because I have photos of right before I went into the Army when I still lived here in 86, where a lot of the driveway was already covered over with grass. And then when I started staying down here back in 2008, after Dad died in 2005, this out here in front of the garage, half of it was just completely covered with weeds, and so it was just mowed. You had to mow it. And there was grass and weeds just everywhere. And I encouraged Mom one day. I said, why don't we get some more gravel down here, because this is supposed to be gravel, it's not supposed to be grass. And where there were weeds or whatever, it was just becoming kind of muddy, and it's because it was dirt and weeds and whatnot. And instead, we got a guy down here who had what they call a scraper box deal on his tractor, and he said he could use that and just go in and just recondition it, just pull up all the, scrape off the top layer of the weeds and the dirt, and then pull up all that gravel that was there. I was skeptical. We paid him $300, and he came down, and man, he resurrected the thing. I mean, it was like Mom swore, and everybody who saw it swore that we got new gravel. I'm like, nope, that's the gravel that was there. It's just been hidden for 30 years because the grass and the weeds started creeping in, and they just let it go. So now, where there's gravel everywhere, and I have to spray it to keep the weeds down, otherwise we'll go back to where it was, and it will happen quickly. So I wind up spraying the driveway with some, it's basically Roundup, but I buy it concentrated by the gallon, and I use about 30 ounces per 4 or 5 gallons of water, and so I'm able to mix my own. A lot cheaper that way. It's like $22 for the gallon of concentrate. And the way I mix it, I think I figured out that I make four to five 4-gallon mixes out of that. So I'm getting a lot out of it. So anyway, I spray the driveway probably on average 6-7 times a year to keep the weeds down. And so that's why I did that. Make it easier on my back to make the wand reach a little farther. So, oh yeah, I was going to look at what I wanted to do next. And then I started talking about how the fact that I'm talking and drinking a lot of water. I don't drink alcohol. I used to, a lot. I stopped drinking basically about the time I moved in down here because I didn't want to be drinking, living in, Mom's house. Just out of respect for her, and I just didn't want to be, I just didn't want to have to be like, okay, I'm coming home and I'm kind of drunk, so I don't want Mom to see me, while I've been drinking, even though she might not be able to tell if she didn't get that close, but still, I just didn't want to do it. And two, my place, my house, before I sold it in 2008, was kind of where people came, my two buddies who still came around to drink. It was kind of the meeting place, and so once I sold that and I didn't have a place for us to meet, they kind of disappeared into their own corners, and so my drinking buddies kind of went away, and probably because I withdrew from society at large at that time, I wasn't getting up and going to work every day for somebody else. That lowered my stress, or at least gave me a different kind of stress, and so I didn't drink as much. And I used to drink, I know now, mainly because social anxiety, I'm just not a naturally outgoing social person, and so the drinking would, you know what drinking does to your inhibitions. It lessens them or gets rid of them. So I didn't try to stop drinking. I knew I didn't know if I was an alcoholic or not, but I knew that I was at least a power drinker, a heavy drinker. So when I drank, buddy. I drank to get drunk. If I opened a beer, the plan was to get drunk. If I was going to drink that night, the plan was to drink until I was drunk. Good and drunk. So I don't drink anymore. And I also didn't want to be big and drunk because, the bigger I've gotten, laying down and sleeping and all that has become harder because of breathing, because of my size. And I thought, man, you don't want to throw in alcohol on top of that because then that's how you're going to die. You're going to choke on, I was never a vomiter. I never vomited in my sleep much except for a couple times back in the Army. I woke up a couple times in the Army after drinking like a lot of Jim Beam and then eating a bunch of Doritos after that. And then I woke up a couple of times, still fully clothed, stereo going, and I was just laying on my back with my head to the side, and there'd be a little pile of Dorito vomit. Not too gross, it was actually mostly dry. And I did that a couple times, and I thought, yep, that's how people die. They puke and then choke on it, and yeah. So luckily that only happened a couple times. But yeah, I just stopped drinking because it was like anything else. You do it, and then you chase it, and you chase that high, and the high becomes more and more elusive. And so, yeah, I don't much care for Hank Jr. or his politics or his attitude, but he nailed it when he wrote, "The hangovers hurt more than they used to." That was another reason, because you start getting older, and man, those hangovers, or when you're younger, the hangover lasts an hour, 2, 3. As I got older, and as I was drinking more heavily, the hangover would last all day. So I don't miss that at all. But yeah, what I was getting at was I didn't go to AA. Once I moved down here in 2008, September 2008, I moved back into here to stay with Mom. I've probably drank 4 times since I was here, and all of that was within the first year. And on a couple of those occasions, I drank literally 2 beers. Mike came down a couple times, and we sat right here. This is before I made this into a room. And he brought, I think, a 12-pack, and I drank, I think, 1.5 on one time, and then he drank like 6, and I just said, sorry, man, I'm just not into it. And so he went home and I guess continued drinking. And then another time I drank a beer and just said, yeah, I'm just not into it. And that was it. That was the end of the drinking. So I got appointments tomorrow. Again, I already told you I'm going to see about getting a compression stocking for my left leg. And I got to go to the VA again, which I hate doing, just because it's all the way out the other side of Murfreesboro, and then it's a long walk from the parking lot in, and then I have to sit down and rest every bit and a little bit. So and I'm going in there just to have them draw blood. I will be in the VA 4 minutes for them to draw blood, and then I get up and walk back out and I'm done. That's for my warfarin. That's my INR, because they're checking the warfarin levels for my anticoagulants. I hope we're getting close to having that dialed in to where I can go to like only going over there to have a blood draw once a month. And then, you know, if that steadies out, then maybe we can do it every 2 months, every 3 months, every 6 months, you know. So I'm looking forward to that, not having to go over there. But anyway, I've got that tomorrow, and I've got the compression stocking fitting thing tomorrow. And I was going to take two old 8-foot fluorescent tubes and 4 4-foot fluorescent tubes over to Batteries Plus Bulbs in Murfreesboro, because they will take those in and dispose of them properly for you, because the local recycling center won't do it. Lowe's and Home Depot only take the small things. They don't take anything over about 12 or 18 inches, so they don't take the big stuff. But Batteries Plus will take the big stuff, but they charge you for it. Now, it's not much. It's 50 cents for anything less than 4 feet, and it's $1 for anything, I think he said 8 or 10 feet and under. So it's only $4 to recycle or properly dispose of those bulbs that I have, those tubes that I have. But you know, if we want this done, if we want people to dispose of these things properly, make it free and make it easy. But they haven't. There was and I'll say this, the local recycling center in the county did have something just last weekend in Shelbyville. All day long they took all of that stuff, but I think they only do it once a month or maybe only twice a year. I forget which one it was. And I didn't go up there because they stopped at 12 or at noon, and I'm not a morning person. And I thought Batteries Plus would take them, no problem. Now Batteries Plus wants to charge for it. And it's not so much the $4. If I could just take them in there and say, here you go, and lay down $4 and walk out, that might be one thing. But I guarantee you it's not going to be that, because he said, because I asked him, I said, do I just walk in and take them to the county? He said, yeah, but there's one guy that you have to ask for, and then it's a charge. So I'm like, okay, between having to ask for a certain guy and then wait for him to be found and come up there, and then the fact that they're charging me, there's going to be paperwork, and all of a sudden it's not just walk in, boom, here's $4, thanks, see ya. It's now I'm in there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Fuck that. So there's a real good chance these bulbs are going to go up to the barn, and I'll either just lay them up there, or I'll take them out behind the barn and just break them right there and just let. I hate to do that, but I don't know what I'll do with them. I may just leave them in the back of the truck and see next time they're going to collect them up Shelbyville. I don't know. It could be easier is what I'm saying. You want people to recycle or responsibly dispose of stuff, make it easier. So anyway, I may start this back again later. I'm kind of tired. Oh yeah, I tried to start yesterday a mono diet, which is, like I said from the last video, if you watched it, you're supposed to do a mono diet for 2 weeks, I guess, to break your cravings and to make food just something you have to do and not a treat. And the idea is just pick one food, one whole vegetable, and just eat nothing but that. So I thought I'd do potatoes. I like potatoes. So yesterday, I thought, okay, I've eaten up everything else that I had. No macaroni was left. No tuna fish was left. No stuff to make macaroni and cheese. All that was eaten. So I'm like, okay, I got potatoes. Let's try this. So I started off okay yesterday. I had a couple of decent-sized russet baked potatoes that I baked for lunch, nuked them in the microwave, brought them out here, and just ate them whole, skins and all. That's what you're supposed to do. Eat the whole thing. And it actually tasted pretty good. I thought I would really miss the butter and the salt and the pepper, but I was hungry. That helps. Hunger is the best spice. But I ate both of those, and it went okay. They were hot, and it was good, and it filled me up, and I thought, okay, that was nice. Then I went in last night, and around 10 o'clock, I was hungry, so I thought, well, okay, let's do some more potatoes. But I didn't want to nuke them that time. I thought, well, I'll slice them up and do stewed potatoes. Just slice them up, put them in a pot with some water, and just boil them until they get nice and, mashable, basically. And then take them out, drain the water, and no salt, no pepper, no butter, just eat them that way. And I made a big old pot, 5 potatoes. The pot was this big, and it was full. Well, okay, that's because the deal was you can eat as many as you want. You can eat 30 potatoes a day if you want to. But you're not going to be able to, but that's the deal for the 2-week mono diet. Eat as much as you want of this whole vegetable to get yourself off the salt, the sugar, the oil, and all the other cravings, and just get plain, basic, boring food. Well, I did that. And even though the 2 potatoes for lunch tasted okay without butter and salt and pepper, as I got them done, I drained out the water, and they're sitting there, and they would have been fine to eat them, left the skins on. I don't mind the skins at all, it turns out. I went over to this refrigerator and got, there's probably 2/3 of a stick of butter or margarine left, and I sliced that up on top of it, and I thought, well, it's potatoes, there's no salt, there's no oil, although there's salt in the margarine. I thought, well, I'm just doing this. This is not so bad. Maybe start into this mono diet slowly. This is still better than what I would normally have eaten. But then I opened a can of pinto beans, heated them up, poured them on top, and that was actually pretty good. But of course, the pinto beans have salt in them because they're canned. Commercially canned pinto beans, so they got salt in them. But still, I'm like, okay, it's better than eating macaroni and cheese with a whole lot of cheese in it and butter, and it's better than eating spaghetti, and it's better than eating tuna fish sandwiches with a whole lot of mayonnaise and the bread and then the baked beans. I said, this is better than that, and it was. It was better healthily than that, but it was not the mono potato diet because I added margarine and I added beans. We're not finished. So I ate all that, big old pot, ate all that. Got down to the end where a lot of the margarine was, and afterwards, after I ate it a few minutes later, I didn't really like the taste of the margarine. So I'm like, yeah, I put a little too much margarine on there, and maybe I can do without the margarine. Just the potatoes with the pinto beans on top would have been fine because the beans have some salt in them. Plus you got the gravy from the pinto beans and the beans themselves, so that would have been fine. So anyway, I ate that. And then a couple hours later, I'm bored. That's important. And I'm a little hungry, but mostly I'm bored. I wanted something else, so I thought, well, shit, here we are again. And so what did I eat then? Then I got, so then I thought, well, I'll go open a can of baked beans. This regular size can, baked beans. You see it right out of the can. And there was 4 pieces of white or Hawaiian bread laying there. So I went and got the beans, went in there just to get the beans. Opened the can of beans, grabbed a spoon, and as I'm walking by the Hawaiian bread, I grabbed the 4 slices of Hawaiian bread. So I went in there and I ate a can of baked beans, which is, not part of the mono diet. And baked beans has a lot of sugar in it. And 4 pieces of bread, so there I am eating processed wheat. Oh, well, okay. This is not going well. My first day on the mono diet. And then about 4 o'clock in the morning, I told you it wasn't done. I just decided I wanted some meat. And I thought about going in and making there's some frozen sausage patties. I thought about making those. I thought, I don't want to cook at 4 o'clock in the morning. And there were bagels in there, so I thought, well, I'll get a bagel. And there was a Ziploc thing of cheese, macaroni and cheese mix that has the cheddar and then some of the white cheese. I'm not sure if that's Swiss or what it is. So there was about half a bag of that, so I grabbed half a bag of the grated cheese and a bagel and a glass of Kool-Aid. So now I'm eating some sugar and I'm eating some dairy with the cheese and I'm eating this bagel, and so that's all I ate. But mono diet day one started off with potatoes and then went to hell. So I ate at about 4:30 this morning, 4:30 a.m. It's now 4:41 p.m. and I haven't eaten anything, just that water you've seen me drinking. So I don't know what I'll do now. It's 4:41. I'll probably jack around out here in the shop for another hour and a half, but I'm hungry. I'm getting hungry and I'm feeling a little shaky, so I'm going to need to eat something. So I don't know. Maybe this mono diet is too extreme for me because I'm used to eating so many calories, because at my weight, you know, I have to eat to maintain my weight, and which I do very, very well, by the way. I eat somewhere in the neighborhood just to maintain the weight. Mathematically, I have to eat 6,000 to 7,000 calories a day. I don't think I eat that many calories, but that's what the math says. So I don't know. I don't know if maybe just potatoes is just not feasible for me. But I mean, I know it is. It's all right up here, but I'm just saying I feel really weak. And of course I feel weak and all that because I haven't eaten. The whole idea is you can eat 30 potatoes a day if you want to. So I should just go in there and make a couple of potatoes and eat them. And then I won't be hungry. But I don't want to eat plain potatoes. I want spaghetti. I want pasta. I want meat sauce and meat. And I want cheeseburgers. And I want pizza. And I want sausage and biscuit and egg. And you get the point? So maybe mono diet won't work for me. Maybe I should just try to do the vegan thing and eat beans and potatoes, and yeah, but then I'm going to want the salt, man. Salt and butter and pepper makes potatoes better. Damn. Bitching and moaning. That's all I'm doing, basically. Bitching and moaning. I am kind of hungry, and so it's basically making me not want to do this Wemos ESP Easy thing because I'm distracted with wanting to eat something. So I don't want to go in there and nuke some potatoes. I just don't want to. I don't want to go in there and grab a can of pinto beans or a can of baked beans. Maybe I'll just contact the seller of this rattly power supply first and see. I want to cancel it or receive an item that wasn't as described. I'll do that. Yeah, I'll tell him I need to return it. I don't want to do a return because that creates a request. Nah, I'll just send the guy a message. Let's just do that. Hello. I just completed testing on the 10X units you sent, and one of them is DOA. Can I get a replacement unit? Thanks, W. Clark. And again, I hope he says, sure. If he says send that one back, I'm going to give him a chance to say, yeah, don't worry about it, I'll send you one. Keep the other one, throw it away, whatever. That's what I'm hoping he says. Just to ship this. I could probably put it in one of those little padded envelopes and ship it for $1. I don't pay $1.30 for it. But it could be if he buys these by the hundreds from China or wherever, and he probably does, he may need it so that he has a box of bad ones that he has to send back. So he may have to have that one back. If so, I could probably find a way to ship it cheaply. To chip it cheaply. So there, I've contacted that guy. I'm going to end this for now. I may tag on more later if I eat some potatoes and decide I have the energy to do the SP Easy on the D1 Minis, or I may not. So I'll say goodbye, but I may say hello again right now, or not. It's a mystery.